I went to Rock for People mainly for the music, but in the end, the festival offered me so many more things that you just don't experience every day. At times it even turned into a bit of a survival experience, like the ones I'm used to in virtual reality, so I thought nothing could surprise me anymore. And yet something happened that I didn't expect. I tried out a motion platform that, in Euro Truck Simulator 2, faithfully reproduced every bump in the road, and I even chatted with people from the studio behind this global hit. And yes, you can even play it in virtual reality. Today I'd like to reminisce about what Rock for People was like for me and everything I experienced here. Since I spend a lot of time in virtual worlds, I have to confess something to you. Even though I know how to start a fire in the Amazon rainforest, tie branches together with vines and build shelters, in the real world I have never even set up a tent. And that was about to change. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. local time, I arrive at my destination and set out on a journey of over an hour with my things into the area. Fortunately, I brought some backup in the form of my friend and colleague Anichka, who helped me carry my stuff, and together we headed to her group's camp. To make a long story short, there was a spot next to their tent, and for the first time ever I set up my own tent there. I inflated my sleeping mat and tossed my sleeping bag inside. That night Morchata and Uchaku were still playing, but we missed them, so around midnight we just brushed our teeth and went to sleep. In my tent I pulled up my Nintendo Switch 2 for a while and tried to finish Sonic. Unsuccessfully. On Wednesday, around 5 in the morning, I was woken up by people outside who had decided not to go to sleep yet, and I started to feel like it was probably pointless for me to try to sleep any longer. I pull out the Switch 2 again, this time determined to finally finish Sonic, and yes, I managed to do it. Even though the final boss in Superstars Without a Checkpoint took me over an hour for a roughly 5-minute section, but that happens. So in celebration, I head across the camp towards the portable toilets to brush my teeth. Yes, the sinks are strategically located near the portable toilets, so mornings and evenings are accompanied by a specific scent while brushing your teeth. But nothing that should face someone with a nickname like mine, Toj from the past. I head back, figuring that my friend's group is already in the... and we're thinking about when to head into the venue. And the decision was made that we might as well go at 11 when the main entrance opens. Of course, we end up waiting a little over half an hour, but it goes by pretty quickly. Especially if you use a little life hack and take the shortcut on the left side. But don't tell anyone. Here comes my first concern. Will the Switch 2 be okay? Is security going to make a fuss about it not being completely okay? Well, after all, it's not a weapon and it's not a recording device either. So why should it be a problem? After being frisked, I also have to show the contents of my backpack, where they immediately point out the Switch 2, and the security guy jokes, "You're bringing that in case you get bored here, huh?" And I just say, yeah. So I'm led into the venue with my backpack and start checking out the first band. That's act number 4. An emo punk band that pleasantly surprised me, not only because they had 3 guitars in the band, which you don't see very often. Then I head over by myself to see Weekend as Romance in Magnolia Park, and at Bloody Wood I run into some friends from Zlin. After Bloody Wood we go to sit down in the hangar. Concerts used to be held here, and I myself witnessed it back in the day. Specifically from the stage when, 15 years ago, someone contacted us to ask if we wanted to play at the festival. At that time our band had broken up, we had a System of a Down revival, but even then we wanted to create our own music. But when they told us that the festival where they wanted us was Rock for People, we all agreed that we couldn't turn this down. And so we played here back then. And today there's a drink stand here. Still, the memories remain, and now I'm here having a drink with friends from Zlin, some of whom I haven't seen in over 10 years. Time goes on. Around Friday, Dave Mustaine and his band Megadeth start playing. The others were either kicked out or left by mutual agreement. I'll listen to a few songs here, but his best one, the song from the game Duke Nukem, doesn't get played. Meanwhile, Speed and I run into Korea and we chat with him for about 5, maybe even 10 minutes, then move on. Sometime later, the actress from The Grinch performs, this time with the band The Pretty Reckless. The music was good, the show too, but before the end I move over to Electric Callboy to get a good spot. In the end, I end up in about the 5th row. The Eskimos then start their show, and at that moment I realize that they really haven't grown on me as much as, say, mindless self-indulgence. Or maybe that's just the boomer in me talking. After a while, I go get something to drink and wait for Grillas. As soon as they start, I watch them from a distance and just think how beautiful it would be here if it hadn't rained all day. But the worst was yet to come. On the way back to the camp, I pick up more mud on my boots, go brush my teeth, and finally get to bed. Thursday. Around 3 in the morning I'm woken up by rain which doesn't let up, and it's now been raining for almost 24 hours. I discover that I have a tick, so with a headlamp on my head and tweezers, I remove it. And about an hour later, I fall asleep again. In the morning, I read in the group chat that the group next to me had water get into their tent, and not just a little. Since the morning, they've been trying to figure out where to dry their things. They thought of going to the dryers, which were here for, I think, 60 crowns, but after waiting there for a while, they were told that the line would take another 6 hours. So they decided to string up a line in their tent and dry everything there. Luckily, I only had water in the vestibule where I didn't have anything except for a few pieces of trash. Even though this day didn't start out the best, it will become my best day at Rock for People. The group goes to MCG, and when I arrive, I realize it's probably not my cup of tea. So I go to freshen up and return under the Europe 2 tent where MCG is still performing, and I realize something. I'm starting to get a taste for his music. He doesn't have those cliched or boring gangster lines, quite the opposite. Clever, witty, but also melancholic songs, where I would highlight, for example, Plamňák and Sam Sebu. Afterwards, I move on to Banks Arcade, The Pretty Watt and Social Distortion. By the time Breaking Benjamin played, I was already sitting on the ground by the stage thinking, what if I went to check out the PlayStation Zone? And this is where it happens. I see 3 monitors connected to a platform, and there's Euro Truck Simulator 2. One of my favorite games in virtual reality, but with the chance to play it like never before. Forget about vibration pads, this is a whole different league. I don't hesitate, there are about 6 people in front of me and I tell myself I have to wait here. While waiting, I strike up a conversation with the person behind me and we talk about the PSVR 2 which he has at home. Time passes and now it's my turn. At that moment, the person standing by the platform to whom I entrust my backpack and ask if I can put it somewhere says to me, he wonders if he might know me from somewhere, and I blurt out that I have a channel about virtual reality, Virtualni Zona. And right then his response is, yes, that's where I know you from. One thing leads to another, and during the ride we talk about the game, virtual reality and other topics as well. So after about 10 minutes, when I arrive at the cash register, we head outside and I share my impressions of American and Euro Truck Simulator in VR with him, plus how glad I am that they support VR there. Chenda then tells me about his job and a lot of interesting things, not just about Euro Truck Simulator, but also about Slipknot, which we discovered we both really like, and that the trailer for Iowa, one of the DLCs for American Truck Simulator, was supposed to look a bit different. Full of excitement from a great chat, I head over to Baby Metal, but after a few moments I realize that I'm not really their target audience either, so I agree with my friend that we'll move closer to the front for Papa Roach. And we made it. Papa Roach just started their first song, and already circle pits were forming all around us. The second song, Blood Brothers, takes me back to my youth and childhood. A song from THPS 2. The show peaks with a time travel segment where Papa Roach play Korn's Blind, Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff, System of a Down's Chop Suey, and Deftones' My Own Summer, Shove It. Ending with
Cut my life into pieces, this is my last resort.
Some people know this song thanks to Falling in Reverse, where Ronnie Radke changed the arrangement, making it a radically different version. As for the mosh pit, during the concert I thought a few times that I might fall on my Switch 2 and maybe break it, but even so I stuck it out until the end of the concert and I don't regret it. On the contrary, I'll never forget it. After such intense experiences, I move on to Limp Bizkit almost out of inertia. We're pretty far back, but after a whole day of exhaustion, that's enough for me. The concert starts with the familiar riff from West Borland, and that's Break Stuff, which both opens and later closes the concert. At this concert, Songful Nelson lets 2 people from the audience sing. Here comes the most amusing moment of the evening when Fred, after confirming that the fan is from the Czech Republic, asks him to say something in his own language, and the fan responds with, "Hello!" I actually met the second fan the next day and grabbed a photo with him, and since both of them are Czech, that puts an end to the speculation that they weren't from here. You can find the video from the Limp Bizkit concert, including these moments, right here on my channel. After that I went to check out Desade with the band Denoy, and after a few songs I headed back to the tent. My shoes were muddy again and so were my pants. Good thing I had spare shoes and pants. The jacket from Vux didn't let any water in and got me through the whole festival, even serving as a raincoat. From today, I'm also taking away the experience of using the paid toilets, which were luxurious by festival standards, and there were no lines even at the free ones. The organizers of Rock for People are making this festival better and better, and they definitely deserve a big thank you for that. On Friday morning, before my morning hygiene routine, I played on the Switch 2 and went to check out the karaoke stage in front of the festival entrance. Some people's performances were good, and there wasn't any act like the one you might know with Anička Dajda from Superstars.
I miss the bus and there be hell today. I am late for work again.
Or maybe I just wasn't there at that moment. I decided to spend this day in a more cultural way, so I headed to the Chetí stage where the AZ quiz was taking place. Even though Ben Christoval and his band were performing at the same time, seeing Aleš Božil is an experience you definitely want to have. Last year he even took a photo with me, and once again it was a shorter, tailor-made version of the AZ quiz specifically for Rock for People. There were questions about this year's headliners as well as other music-related questions. But before that I took my friend Bernie to try out Euro Truck Simulator 2. He himself is considering getting virtual reality because he enjoys simulators and the immersion is just on a whole different level compared to 3 monitors. On the other hand, I don't have a seat like that at home, so this was the best way for him to at least try out what these simulators are like on a PC. By the way, that platform, which has hydraulics and I believe 4 motors, costs around 40,000 euros, which is really a lot. In the end, I tried out Eurotruck for a second time, and then we decided to spend some time with other people at the hookah, from where we had a great view of Tom Morello, and his son blew me away. At 15 he played in a way I won't be able to even in 15 years. They played songs by Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave, as well as one song by Ozzy. In the evening, Bring Me the Horizon sounded good, and some of us moved to the hangar for 3 days grace. And then I headed back to the tent, ready for the last day of Rock for People. On Saturday morning I was struggling with the thought that I might just go home. I didn't feel like waiting for Nothing But Thieves and Hell's E, as the headliner didn't appeal to me. So in the morning, we agreed that I'd put some of my things in the car with the group of people who were next to me, and I'd just take the bare essentials with me. When I was at my car at exactly noon, I was praying it would start. At the same time, I was torn about maybe going back to the festival grounds, but by then it was already 4 kilometers away from me again. So after a few seconds, I told myself that I had seen what I wanted to see and experienced even what I hadn't expected. Again, I come back to Euro Truck Simulator 2 because if all goes well, I'll get to visit the SCS software studio in person. And there I'll prepare an interview which I'll of course publish here for you. After that, a 2-hour drive awaited me. I filled up the tank, and for the rest of the day I enjoyed the comforts of civilization at home, like a hot meal, a toilet, a shower. You know how it is when you come back from a festival. Mentally, I was only up for watching simple movies, so I went with Romero's Return of the Living Dead, and also Texas Massacre 2 from the 80s. Later in the week, I found out that I should have stayed on Saturday. I had no idea there was a band called D900 that plays songs from the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. If there's one thing I truly regret that I missed, it was definitely this band for me. And what about you? Did you go to Rock for People, or are you planning to go to the next edition? Let me know in the comments below. What would attract you there the most, and why would it be the Eurotrack Smelator in particular? No, I'm just kidding, but I'm really glad that we have such a great festival here, full of friendly people, good music, and a really good accompanying program. Once again, a big thank you to the organizers, and I hope you enjoyed this video at least a little. Next time we'll take a look at virtual reality games. Still, it's sometimes hard to return to reality, whether it's work reality or virtual reality. After festivals, your mind is completely elsewhere, and I have to admit, the very next day I would go back there again. So until next time, with another video from some kind of reality. I'm also putting some discounts for virtual reality accessories and such in the video description.